time period, if you have a Facebook page or if you have an Instagram page, go ahead and drop your link. It looks a lot like how Tammy put hers there. Go ahead and drop that in the chat, and hopefully, you know, we can like and follow each other's pages, which will be really cool. So
Raquel, could I jump in?
Sure.
Just to echo you and say that, you know, networking is such a huge part of kind of small business support, and it's something that's really difficult to do right now. So I appreciate you bringing that up. That's one of the goals of hosting these workshops too. I mean, it feels secondary, but it's actually really important that there's a chance for other people to connect with each other or learn from each other, or even just know that each other exists out there. So thanks for bringing that up. Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. And if you know, I'm pretty sure you kind of know about Gallup MainStreet, because that's probably where you found these workshops. But, you know, if you haven't followed them as well, they're definitely always trying to promote local business and small businesses as well. So if you haven't checked their pages out, you know, do that as well. So today's lesson is on Canva, and let me just tell you, Canva is amazing. There's literally probably like nothing you can't do as far as like with your business regarding Canva. So if you have any questions coming up as far as like something we cover, or it gives you a different question about how I can help you to do something on Canva better, please, please, please let me know. Like I said, there's pretty much nothing you can't do. There's definitely a whole lot that is available for you. So in any way I can help you to use it better, that'll be really great. So I guess just jumping in before even going into Canva, you do have to create an account. You can create it through Facebook, I believe, or through Gmail. There's a free version, and there's a paid version. With the free version, you can do a lot still. Like, you can still do pretty much most of what I'm going to talk about. However, for this tutorial, I am using the paid version, which has just a little bit more added things that you can do on it. So I believe it's like $4 a month. It's definitely not terribly priced. I understand that most small businesses are under a budget. Personally, I use it for my small business. I use it for almost everything I do. I think it's definitely well worth the investment. However, of course, like I said, I understand budgets and things happen. So that being said, we're going to kind of follow that worksheet that you see there. If you did not get a chance to see it, it's at the very top, I believe. Yeah. So I'll just kind of paste it right back to the bottom. This is just kind of like a guide, kind of a reminder of the things that you want to do. We're going to talk about two main things here. We're going to be talking about setting your brand, and then we're also going to be talking about creating repeatable content. And so with your brand, basically you want to be able to let people know anytime they see you, hey, this is X, Y, and Z. You know, if you see, if you see the golden arches, you know, you think McDonald's. If you see, you know, the Burger King logo, it's very quickly able to be seen and to be understood that that is the business that you're looking at. That happens on a micro level for small businesses by doing certain things like having a logo, having certain colors, having something that just says, oh, that business is that business. And by creating, you can actually set up your brand here. So it's actually really, really, really fast to make everything look branded. So I'm on the computer. You can do this, I believe, on a tablet. It'll look a little bit different. And I don't think, I tried finding it on the phone. It looks, it looks, yeah, so you can do it on your phone. The logo will look the same if you see it on your worksheet, if you see it on your phone or whatever you're on. It's called Brand Kit. So on your brand kit, it's going to give you 3 different things that you can do there. You can upload a logo. If you have one, that's great. If you don't, you can actually create one on Canva, which is, again, really, really cool. you just need to go to create a design. This is kind of like a detour. You won't see it here, but you can create your logo on Canva. You go to create a design, you hit Instagram post, and then under templates, if you look up logo, this might be the wrong, it might just be logo. There you go. It gives you options to, if you have not yet created a logo, you can actually create one here and then upload it. So that would be the first thing. If you already have it saved somewhere, it's usually in a picture. It's going to ask you to upload it, and then you would be able to save it on there for later. And then creating a palette. Now, oftentimes this takes a very, very, very long time just because deciding colors can be a little bit complicated. A lot of people want to like think it through, look at what colors. The cool thing again about Canva, because it's made for, you know, for the average person, is that you can actually look at palettes there as well. And so it has a very wide variety of palettes that you can look at. I guess through this process, I'm just going to kind of create one to kind of show you what that would be. You know, let's say we really like red. It's going to show up all these palettes that have to do with red. And so, you know, you just can scroll through until you find something you like. And you can rename it if you choose, or reorder it to be somewhere where you would like it to be. Just checking the comments quick. Sorry, guys. Yeah, so then you can choose whatever colors you'd like. You can also choose fonts that you like. And again, if this is something, I would say the fonts are a little bit harder to choose because deciding like, oh, I want something that looks cursive, or I want something that looks really bold, it might take you a longer time to choose it. So, you know, if you were just kind of toying around with it just to figure it out for starters, you can do that. You know, just kind of choose something that kind of stands out to you. And so now you would be able to have your brand, and it will, the nice thing is that Canva saves this for you. You have to go back. You can always have your colors available. You can always have your logo available. You can always have your fonts available for any template that you want to create. All of this, like I said, the goal in doing this is to create repeatable content, because like I mentioned in the last meeting, and for those of you who weren't here, one of the biggest problems for small businesses with social media, with marketing, is that you are, you know, you are your XYZ, you're your own creator, you're your own marketer, you're everything. And so this will actually help you, you know, be able to create your stuff way ahead in advance. And, you know, you can get to the point where you create content maybe 2 or 3 weeks out in advance instead of having to worry about it for later. Are there any questions about creating your brand on Canva? Okay.
Raquel, I was just typing this, which you can totally disagree with, but I was just gonna say, for people who are like, whoa, 3 fonts, can you just kind of talk about, like, I just put like general rule of thumb as like a header's kind of like your bold font, and then subheadings just a little less than that, and then the body text is just like a readable font that you would use. But can you talk a little bit about how, I mean, you might have this in the presentation too, about how those would be applied?
Yeah, so for sure. So you don't want to choose, definitely, especially like for the subheadings ones, you don't want to choose very, very bold things. So definitely your main title can be, you know, the loud, the, you know, something that's more creative, I guess you can call it, kind of font. But then after that, you want it to be something more readable. So, you know, anything below that, I personally just go with something very, very basic, which for them, it's their Helvetic-ish, which is like basically Helvetica. You want to choose something that's readable, because of course, if you have a ton of cursive, people might not be able to understand it very well. Or if you have, you know, a ton of like very fancy looking choice, it might not be very legible. And the number one goal with anything that you do should be for it to catch somebody's attention right away. If somebody has to like struggle to see what you have to say, they're probably going to keep scrolling because they, you want it to catch their attention. You don't want it to be difficult to see or read. So definitely anything that's easier on the eyes is definitely a better way to go. Personally, my go-tos, I really like a very just simple look. And so my go-tos are usually Playfair display, which is kind of a lot like Times New Roman. And then I'll go for like Helvetic-ish for the two bottoms. And like I said, it's just mostly so that it helps the reader be able to see things better. Any other questions or comments for your brand?
Sorry, I'll make one more. That this might seem like arbitrary, but doing something like this ahead of time, like choosing colors or fonts, is like going to feed into probably everything Raquel's about to tell us. But what it does is build consistency.
For sure. You want, like I said, you want people to be able to identify you. And if they see, that red, they'll be like, oh, that's that company, and it makes them, it of course reminds them of you every time you see it. And you definitely want consistency. You want people to be able to identify you, if they see you on Facebook, if they see you on Instagram, wherever they see you, they can say, oh, that's that company, that's that small business. And of course, I mean, it's a little bit harder to go over the logo here because I have my logo updated. I'll show you later on what that looks like. That's just part of branding. Having your logo on as many of your posts as possible is just really good, even if it's like a small on the side thing. It reminds people like, oh, this is who they are. So after you're done with your brand logos, you're going to go back to the main page and you're going to click on Instagram post. And the nice thing about Instagram post is that it is a good size for both Facebook and for Instagram. I put a list here. It's not the longest list, but it does kind of give you some ideas as to what you can share on social media. Because oftentimes, the question becomes, hey, well, what do I post? So if you're looking at I want to kind of share that list quick. What I would recommend, even as you're looking at this list, is kind of like write down the kind of posts that you would be interested or willing to create. So here we have this list. Let me see if I can see it on my end. There we go. Here we have this list. And so basically you would want to kind of go through it and decide, okay, well, what things of these can I definitely do on a weekly basis? Your goal, let's say you're starting out this week and you just want to start out small in preparation for next week. Let's say you start out with 3. What you're going to do is choose 3 of those, and then those are going to help you decide what templates to use on Canva. So product post is just literally pictures of the stuff in your store or pictures of the businesses or the wares that you offer, the services you offer. The picture should relate to something related to selling something. Behind the scenes is showing what's going on, behind the scenes. So like, what are you selling? What are you making? What do you work on that oftentimes the customer does not see? Share content from consumers. Oftentimes, people who come into your business will actually like tag your location, especially if you're on Instagram. Check out what shows up for your location. Sometimes people will tag the location. Sometimes people will tag like Gallup, New Mexico. Sometimes they'll tag Gallup, MainStreet, or whatever it is that they tag. And that's a chance for you to share like, oh, look, here's this customer that came in. Here's a picture they took. That's free content for you to share. Usually if it's public, people get really excited that you shared their posts that they created anyway. And so it just kind of is like a really good win-win. Employee family spotlight. So if your business has several employees, talk about them, like meet the cashier, meet the, our accountant, meet XYZ. And if it's a family owned business, here's my kids, here's my wife, here's my dog, those are all ways that, again, you create more of a human being personality for yourself. Milestones. So like if you say, oh, this is a year that I've been in business, usually people get really excited and want to celebrate these milestones with you. And that's kind of one of the nice big things about small business, is that you can share, those small big wins, like this is our 12th month in business. This is our 100th sale, whatever it is. It's a good way to kind of add those in. um, Giveaways and contests, this definitely doesn't want to be a weekly thing because of course they cost money and time, and of course you don't necessarily want to constantly be doing giveaways, especially when you haven't necessarily grown to the point where it might get a ton of attention. Those are good, kind of like with milestones, they're good every once in a while, but they don't want to be the main thing you do. If you're thinking about Valentine's Day, definitely a giveaway or a contest is always something good to keep in mind, though, because of course, people are usually trying to find gifts and things around that time. It's a good way to draw some attention to your business. Quotes usually do really, really well on either Instagram or Facebook, just because they get shared, and that's what you want. You want people to share your stuff so that they come back to your page. Talk a little bit about your mission statement, your goal. Why do you do what you do? Just like sharing your milestones, people love hearing about like passions and hopes and dreams. And if you're sharing a little bit of that passion, people can see that, people can relate to that with their own hopes and dreams as well. Cross promoting others. And so if you work nearby another business, you might say, hey, here's this other business I work with, share something that they're sharing as well. There's some other things there, like your morning routine, some tips and tricks for the business that you do, tutorials for something that's related to your business, blast from the past for like something that's happened before, like a throwback is really great as well. And then like what you're reading or what you're watching is a really great way as well to just kind of share a little bit more of like who you are as a person. And again, it gives personality behind the business. It lets people know, hey, this is the human that I'm interacting with. It's not just a business. It's also, a small business. It's a human that's part of that small business. So for the sake of example, I am going to show you what that would look like once you've chosen your top 3 to 4. Eventually, you want to get to the point where you can maybe even choose 5, and then start reproducing them on a like bi-weekly basis. So creating 10 posts at one time. But for starters, 3 is a really good number just because it doesn't seem overwhelming then. So I'm going to choose quotes, product posts, and behind the scenes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a template that kind of fits with that. So template for product. I can just look something like that up. And then I'm just going to scroll through, find something that I like. I like this one. It says sale. I'm going to add it there. It's interesting. You used to be able to actually label what it was for. I'm going to kind of just add a comment for myself here. I want this to be a product post. And then I'm going to go on to my next page. The next page that I want to do is going to be a quote. So I'm going to look up under templates. I'm not sure if I pointed that out before. You have a couple on the left-hand tab. You have a couple of options. On the phone or on your tablet, you still get the chance to look at templates. You would just kind of follow the same pattern, except the tool or the options are now at the bottom of your screen. So I'm going to look up now a template for quotes. And then I'm going to scroll down until I kind of find one that I like again. And so I decide I like this one. Notice at this point, these are not my colors, they're not my brand, but they're templates. And so we're eventually going to get to the point where we can change them so that they fit my brand. And so I'm going to add my little comment here just to remind myself, I'm going to add a quote here. I'm going to add one more page so that I can have one more product or one more post type. I want to do my why. And I think that would be really good for like a combination of like picture and some words. And just looking on this side here, I kind of really like this one as well. So now I have my 3 posts. And of course, like I said, they don't look branded. They don't look like they fit together or anything, but I'm going to change that. I'm going to go down to this side here and I'm going to click styles. And now my palette is going to show up. So now I can click on that palette and it's going to change it to be something that fits with my brand. And so I kind of really like this red. That's the red I want to show off, that I want people to know is me. And that's going to be part of my brand. I'm going to go to folders. After that, I'm going to click on logos and my logo is going to show up right there. So now I can add my logo there. When people see this, not only are they going to identify my brand, they're also going, or they're not only going to identify my colors, they're going to see as well my my logo. And of course, like we talked about with fonts, we can also add in our font. So my brand font, Playfair, and it'll let you change it to capital, lowercase, whatever it may be. And then I'm going to change the other one to the other brand font. I like them in capital. And then if this was related to my why, I might decide I want to add like a picture, something that kind of relates to it. They have, like I said, a lot of this is free. Even if you're still using it for free, the photos, not all of them are free, but many are free. And so if I was talking about like, you know, the food aspect of my why, for whatever reason it might be, I might find a picture that I really like. And so although it started out being something that was not connected to my brand, now it's something that talks about me, that looks more like my brand, that kind of shows off something that I want to share. And then I would do the exact same thing for the next one. I would go to styles. I would click on my brand colors until I find something that I just really like. Change up the things that are me. Go to my folder or logos, add my logo in. And now my logo, and then again, this post is branded. And then I would do that one more time for this post. I would, oh, finally it shows up. I would click on styles, change it up again, add my colors. If this isn't what I'm selling, then I can find, even if I'm not, it's like what I'm selling. So like if I was selling shoes, I could find pictures of shoes and just kind of add them in. And that would mean now, when I look at the 3 of them, you're going to see consistency because of the colors and because of the brand and because I'm using the same fonts throughout. And so when people see this, they're going to say, oh, that's mentor marketing. As far as replicatable, this is the even better part. So let's say for the whole month of February, you're just like, okay, I'm going to commit. My goal is to do 3 posts a week, every single week for the month of February. You can choose this option at the top called duplicate page. And you'll just go down, duplicate page, duplicate page. And you'll click on the grid view at the very bottom. And then once you click on the grid view, you can actually move the tiles around so that you have a repeating pattern. And now you have 2 weeks worth of content that you can add with the same templates. And so what maybe takes you 30, 45 minutes every single day to kind of plan, now, you know, you spend at the beginning, yes, it takes a lot more time, but towards the end, you know, maybe just falling into routine and pattern, creating content for 2 weeks might take you 1 hour. And then all you have to do is post it. So yeah, are there any questions? That's kind of the gist of Canva. If you have other questions regarding Canva, though, of course, like I said, there's so much you can do on Canva. It really is super duper amazing. If you wanted to do video, if you want to do your Instagram stories, there's really nothing you can't do on it.
Raquel, can you talk a little bit about getting the posts from Canva into your social media and the different ways you can do that?
Sure. So once you're done, if you're doing it from your phone, it'll look slightly different. So you get to this screen. I just got a message, so to respond to that, to get to this screen, you're on this view. You're going to go to the very bottom. There's going to be a percent number, and there's going to be a little number that says grid view. And then there's 2 arrows. You're going to click on the grid view, and that way you'll be able to see all of your posts in one go. Once you are done, there's a couple of ways that you can post this. So like if you are used to posting on your phone, I'll just kind of show you what that looks like via my iPad. It'll look very similar on your phone. So when you're on the app and you're seeing your posts, you would just click on the post that you've been working on. And then you're going to select at the top corner. There's 3 icons. There's like the little squares looking at each other. There's the download, and then it looks like a little upload. You're going to click on this. It helps you to save which you want to save. So like, let's say if you're just doing it one by one and you don't want all the pictures there at once, you can actually save, you can save them in bits. So you can actually choose which one you want to save by choosing save as. So I guess to go back one more time, you will click on the far right icon. After you click on the far right icon, you select save as, and it lets you select which icon you want. The nice thing, again, if you are doing some extra stuff, you can actually save it with a transparent background. So if you need it for something that you want to reuse, you can do that. Or you can compress it, which is kind of nice as well if you're trying to save space. So let's say I'm only trying to save today's post because I'm not doing scheduling yet. I'm going to go more in depth into scheduling. I am going to show some ways that you can post like from your computer. However, just for today's sake, since we're focusing on Canva, you would just download, the one design. And then it can show up. If you're on a Apple computer, then it can actually let you save it to your computer from there if you wanted to do that. Or you can just, from there, go, it'll just be in your photos. So, if you're looking for it, it's in your photos. When you're going to get ready to upload it, you just click on your Instagram app and it'll take you there. One second. So, usually when you go to add a new post, you select post, it'll show up on your photos, and then you can just go ahead and post it how you would normally post it. If you were doing it from a computer, Sorry, just catching up on the chat here quick. I see a question here. When selecting fonts for different brand posts, would you recommend to use the same fonts you chose to use for one post versus another post that is going to be made, let's say, the next day? I would say stick to the same fonts. Reason being, kind of like Kara mentioned, it's continuity. When you look at, again, like Apple, you can tell their font for their brand is very, very specific. They don't like change it up very often. That's kind of what you want to do. You want to be recognizable. And if you're changing up your fonts, it makes it less likely for someone to say, right, that is that company. So that's why setting up your brand is probably the best first thing to do on Canva, because then it just makes everything so much easier. You can just go and find your font right away. You can find your colors right away. You can find your logo right away, and then add it to everything relatively quickly. Great question, by the way. Thank you for asking. The second way to share stuff, you have to link your Facebook to your Instagram page. And when you link it to your Instagram page, it'll allow for you to be able to post off of your computer, which is super duper great. So if you are here on your Facebook, and you go to your page, honestly, even if you don't have a Facebook page, you just have an Instagram, it's worth getting a Facebook page just so that you can do this, because it's free, and free is great. We like free. You're going to go to Publishing Tools, and once you get to Publishing Tools, on the far left, there's going to be a tab called Tools, and it's going to say Creator Studio. You're going to notice two icons at the top. You're going to notice a Facebook icon, and you're going to notice an Instagram icon. From there, you can select your page, and you can create a post from there. So if you've already downloaded your post, which, by the way, if you decide, oh, that's not the right thing. There we go. If you decide to download everything at once, it's going to download as a zip file, which means you have to extract it. It's not complicated. You just have to double click on it, and it'll say like extract all if you're on a PC, or if you're on a Mac, it'll just kind of automatically do it when you click on it. So this is kind of what it looks like if you look at that far left corner. It's going to say zip on it, and then it'll just kind of, if you're on a Mac computer, it automatically extracts it. If you're on a PC, you can just right click and hit extract all. But then you can go to create post, Instagram feed, and the best part, you can schedule it. So you find your post. Where is this? You're going to open it. I'm not going to fill in all the other parts, but right here on the far right corner where it says publish, instead of hitting publish, you can actually schedule it. So, let's say, even though you're done at your business at, 4 o'clock every single day, but the rule of thumb is to post at like 6 p.m. because most people are on social media at 6 p.m. Then you would, decide, okay, I'm going to schedule this for tomorrow, 6 p.m. and it will schedule it for you. It will post it for you. You don't have to worry about it. It's just, it'll just show up at 6 p.m. the next day. Yeah, I agree, Kara. Definitely downloading them all at once is really great. Scheduling them all at once is really great, which I believe we're going to talk about in a different lesson. We're going to talk about how to schedule your posts so that like if you are doing kind of the method that I'm showing you here, create 1 whole week in advance or 2 whole weeks in advance, then you can just post them for 2 weeks in advance and you can focus on other things, like your stories, or you can just forget about it in general, and you have then posts that are keeping your page active, which is really, really great. Are there any other questions?
Thanks so much, Raquel. I'll make a quick plug for some other resources that that come up related to this. And just to say that all these workshops kind of connect. So today we have a short amount of time to teach tools. So, like Raquel said, there will be an additional workshop on scheduling and many other different facets of managing social media, and this all ties together. We had a workshop last week on how to do video. Raquel told us in the first workshop last week how important video is for Instagram and Facebook. So then we did a workshop on video. We also have a workshop on photography coming up. That's a great way to learn tips and tricks to create a suite of photos for your business or your brand that you can use in those Canva posts, just like she told you. I mean, in addition, there is stock photography as well, but you can create a whole suite of photos of your products, of your staff, of your business, that you can use and reuse when you're creating these posts in Canva. So we'll have at least one photography workshop, if not more, coming up to help with that as well. So I encourage you to check out those workshops. And then as you are trying to put together a marketing strategy or communication strategy for your business, and you're trying to put these tools to use, if you run into programs, you can always schedule a meeting with Gallup MainStreet through the Business Resource Center, and we can, if we can't help you one-on-one, we can figure out a way to get you the help you need. That can all be done through our website. So I just wanted to say thanks for giving us this information, and I didn't want anyone to feel too overwhelmed. We've got lots more workshops to come that help put all of this together.